How do you plead?
If I may, Your Honor. Exactly which people are we talking about? I know we're not talking about me. I just met Mr. Marks. Can't be you. That would be patently unfair.
Very funny, Mr.
Dworkin, Randolph, Jay. I know Mr. Barba doesn't much care for my client.
Recall the case, Mr. Goldberg, this time with a little more specificity.
The people of the state of New York versus Marks, Byron T.
That's a lot of people. Wow, you must be a real SOB.
Can I assume your client is pleading not guilty?
Gee, I don't know. With 20 million people against him, can they all be wrong?
Just do this.
What can I say? My client is more of a gambler than I am.
Not guilty, Your Honor.
The people request the defendant be held without bail.
Mr. Dworkin?
I don't know. I'm still hung up on that 20 million people
You really
thing.
should get some new material, Mr. Dworkin. This is merely an arraignment.
In New York City, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. These are their stories.
Hey guys, welcome to a little Munch My Benson After Dark. My name is Adam. I'm coming from Galveston, Texas, where it's 10 p.m. on a Saturday night. I'm joined on the line by Josh. How's it going, Josh?
It's kind of strange to be taping this late.
I know, it's weird.
Yeah, Jackie has to sit in, I guess she's in bed now, but she's got her set up with her laptop and headphones in because she can't watch the TV. Because, that would very much bleed into this.
Yeah, we would hear that.
Yeah, just a bit.
Thankfully, Max is asleep. I've got the baby monitor right here. Hopefully he stays there. So we'll find out. Megan's at work overnight tonight, so it's gonna be a pretty wild ride. I ate a Gino's East frozen deep dish pizza for dinner tonight, or at least part of one. It's pretty fucking good. They're like one of those big Chicago places.
Yeah, I thought it was, and I was wondering where the fuck that came from.
It was at my local Randall's. Probably the best pizza you can get on the island, frankly. If you call that pizza, I know people get into an argument about that bullshit.
I mean, it's not pizza.
It's still delicious.
Yeah. There was a good deep dish place in LA.
There used to be that deep dish place in Austin. I don't know if it still exists. I don't think it's existed in
Manja?
20 years. Yeah,
I don't think Manja's been around for at least 15 years, probably.
Let's see, current events. It looks like Austin reinstated the camping ban today. So they're going to start jailing people for being homeless, basically. So that sucks.
Way to go, Austin. You fucking dicks.
I don't really know anything what's going on. I literally just watched this episode within the last hour. So I don't have many talking points besides it right now.
Yeah, this episode was a thing. Jackie and I have been watching the Formula One show on Netflix. It's pretty good.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, we're partway through season 2.
So what is it? Tyler Hamilton? Is that the guy? Is that the...
No, it's Lewis. Lewis,
that's right. See, that shows you what I know.
That's how plugged into F1 you are.
Yeah.
But no, it's good. And it's not just like you're watching some fucking show that's a Lewis Hamilton beach fest.
Yeah.
He's actually barely on it. He wasn't even in it the first season.
Nice.
They mostly focused on drivers whose stories over the course of a season are more interesting.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, well, Lewis Hamilton's in the best fucking car.
Yeah. And he wins every time, but
yeah,
it's not that interesting a lot of times. God damn it. We got to get to this at some point. I watched a really good Seinfeld last night. It was the one where Kramer wears jeans. Classic episode. And then he can only walk like Frankenstein, and so he has to babysit, and he scares the kid. Great episode. Really good shit. A lot better than this one. Oh, I know what else I watched. I watched an actually good New York cop program yesterday. I watched Serpico.
Okay.
We're kind of going through our movies that we have that are New York related, and obviously Serpico is directed by Sidney Lumet from 1973. It shows kind of New York right on the cusp of the bad days in the 70s before, the Bronx was burning.
Yeah.
I think it is a faithful performance for how annoying Frank Serpico is in real life.
Yeah.
But it's a good movie. It's a classic, obviously.
It's also before Pacino. I kind of think that everything he did after, certainly Scarface and beyond, he just kind of defaults to going too big in a way that doesn't play right for me. But
yeah, and from the outfit perspective, I mean, he is breaking ground in literally every scene.
I really like Serpico. I also really like Sidney Lumet. So
yeah, me too. I mean, it's a great movie. It's like high period, gritty New York film.
Yeah,
really, really good shit. I've seen it before.
Oh yeah, sure.
A few times, but it's always fun. I sometimes forget how kind of irritating he is and how annoying it would be to work with him. Of course, because he's so self-righteous. But at the same time, it's like, well, they're on the take. They're doing horrible things.
He's trying to be like the one good cop,
Yeah, but I feel like, I don't know. Well, and good on him. Not that he changed anything. I don't think the real life Frank Serpico changed the New York Police Department.
Did you follow that up with a It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia episode where Charlie's Serpico?
No, that sounds awesome.
It's really fun. You should watch that.
What is this?
That right there is a tale of corruption and intrigue, the likes of which are gonna rock this city.
Spin Doctor's Mix?
No, I taped over the Spin Doctor's Mix.
Sir, I do not have time to listen to your mixtape.
No, it's not a Look, I'm ready to blow my whistle here. You know what I'm saying? I got a laundry list of corruption charges. Extortion, bribery, junkyard cats. This is nasty, heavy stuff. Now, you gonna listen to this tape or not?
No, I am not.
Oh, I get it. You want it out, Ma? A crooked cop. Yeah, I get it. Everybody's a crooked cop, huh? Am I the only cop left in Philadelphia who ain't crooked? Oh, I see what's happening. You want to come and Serpico, huh? Who wants a piece of Serpico? Because I'll give it to you. I'll give it to you because you're forgetting about this. And you're forgetting about whatever the hell that is, but you're forgetting about it. And I'm going to take this right to the mayor. And you're going to remember.
It's the one where they get the cop car at the auction, and then there's a cat that they name Special Agent Jack Bauer that cannot die.
Nice. Does he have like moon god robes on and is wearing a purse?
Charlie does, yes.
Nice.
Yeah. It's fun. It's a good episode.
I guess we should talk about this one, right, Josh?
Yeah.
You press the randomizer button, so I blame you for this.
Okay, so we watched, and I watched this fucking episode twice.
Don't recommend that.
Yeah, don't watch this twice. I have 6 pages of notes on this fucking thing.
I don't know how, man. I really don't know how.
You'll see. Season 19, episode 1. We are watching Gone Fishin'. Mm-hmm. Some fucking guy in a Panama hat in, quote, Havana, Cuba, tramps down the stairs from a seaside walk-up apartment, hugs his little sweetie goodbye, kisses a PYT, and heads off to wherever the fuck he's going. Smash cut to Baby Doe telling Benson that he wishes Lucy was his mommy, before walking into the crosswalk without Liv, who's on a phone call, and almost getting hit by a cab that was going way out of its way to kill him. Panama Hat gets kidnapped on the street by 2 randos who throw him into a van where an expectant Finn slaps the bracelets on him with a
Buenos dias, pendejo.
And then we jarringly cut back to Liv taking a phone call asking about Baby Doe's bruises, only to have this potential child abuse call cut short by Finn walking into the station with his collar, saying he ran into him on the pier in Havana. Byron Marks, our entitlement-oozing serial rapist, who fucked off to Cuba while out on bail, tells Lieutenant Benson he looks forward to catching up. In interrogation, he chews on every bit of scenery he can, cockily ejaculating his self-congratulatory cynicism all over Benson, Rollins, and Carisi before lowering up when asked to just confess. Barba rightfully questions how Finn arrested Marks, but Finn lies and Liv says she believes him. So they're going to go after this piece of human garbage who charmed his Vicks at farmers markets and then held them at knife point, telling them he was going to cut off their breasts before he raped them. His first 2 Vicks won't testify against him on a 6-year-old case, and Rollins tells Carisi this fucker is so charming she could have been one of his victims. Raleigh head off to Queens to see if the last Vic will testify, and Carla Wyatt initially wants to eviscerate her rapist, but her Strong Island husband, who is a huge step down from Chev Chelios, ain't having none of his old lady embarrassing them in front of the boys. Crestfallen, Raleigh come back to the house 0 for 3. Benson asks Finn if he's sticking to his I happened to see him on the pier story one more time. He says he doesn't see any reason to change it now. Then Carla walks in. Fuck her hubby. She's gonna sink that smug fuck Byron. Fucking Bart Ganzel stands up and starts defending Byron Marks, saying he's defense attorney Randolph J. Dworkin. But Cassidy's in this episode, and we all know who this schmuck really is. Quote, Dworkin yucks it up in court. Finn asks Barba what's up with that clown, and Barba tells us that this Potzer clerked for Scalia and usually just gets his rocks off in federal court. Benson gets told by Noah's teacher that Noah said his bruises incurred while trying to throw himself under a cab were from Liv. Barba finds out that Dworkin's trying to get the arrest tossed because Finn, kidnapped the perp in another country and brought him back extrajudicially. Finn plays dumb. Liv and Finn lament their having taken too long to arrest the guy and worry that he's gonna skate this time too. Then Liv goes home and realizes that she's completely forgotten that the bruise on Noah's arm is from when he almost met the grill of a taxi only to have her literally snatch him out of the way. She sweet boys him after accusing him of lying about the bruise. Byron Marks takes the stand, tells the court that Finn kidnapped him and let him marinate in a hot van. But Finn clarifies that he was only held in the van while he established who he and Marks were. A Cuban government official argues that Marks should be returned to Cuba. Marks' wife is going to testify the next day, and Benson tries to get Carla to take the stand, but Carla feels betrayed by the police for letting this situation get out of control. Dworkin argues that the court isn't qualified to hold Marks on remand and releases him into Dworkin's care. Marks slips the Raleigh surveillance detail. Benson feels like Carla might be in danger as the only victim willing to testify against Marks, and when she doesn't answer her phone, Benson rushes off to Queens to find Carla holding Marks at gunpoint. She says she's gonna make him beg her to shoot him like he did to her after he raped her. Gun pressed to his temple, he obliges. Liv manages to wrestle the gun from Carla's hand. Liv arrests Byron on witness tampering, holds him until trial the next day, and then has Carla tell Byron's wife what he did to her. Disgusted, his wife says that she wants to change her testimony and doesn't want him anywhere near Cuba. The Cubans give up their claim to wanting Marks released back to them. Barba and Dworkin talk deal with a, quote, deal requiring at least 20 years. Then Liv scoops out some vanilla ice cream for Sweet Boy, only to hear a knock at the door. It's fucking Cassidy. He's there to tell Liv that he's with the DA's office who are investigating her for child abuse, and we get a Cassidy is a harbinger of story doom Dick Wolf.
I have a lot of things to say about this episode, but the first one is they fucking put Mayhem in the same episode as Bart Ganzel, and they don't even bring him face to face. So we don't even get the pleasure of seeing them interact with each other yet again.
And seeing the world end.
This episode, Josh, this is what it did. I was looking forward to there being more Noah scenes in this episode. They were the ones that moved the screen time the fastest for me. I had the most fun watching them.
That's fucked. Okay, let's just get to the guest stars. I want to move through this quickly.
Yeah, please. For the love of God.
So Amy Smart is playing Carla Wyatt.
She's a really weird bio in IMDb, but continue.
So she moved to LA after modeling in Milan. Milan is where she met Allie Larder. Her first acting gig was in the Lemonheads video for It's About Time.
Weird.
You know her from Varsity Blues, Road Trip Felicity, Rat Race, The Butterfly Effect, Scrubs, Outside Providence, Shameless, Marin, Starsky and Hutch, Justified, Stargirl, and most importantly, the Crank movies. And I mean that sincerely. The Crank movies fucking rock.
Yeah.
Then we've got Will Chase playing Byron Marks. He's from Frankfort, Kentucky, went to Oberlin Conservatory of Music. He's currently married to musician Ingrid Michaelson. That's wife number 3, I believe. He's done tons of Broadway work. He was nominated for a Best Featured Actor in a Musical Tony in 2013 for The Mystery of Edwin Drood. He's surely most well known for his turn as Luke Wheeler in Nashville. He's also main cast in Sharp Objects and Dope Sick. and had recurring parts in season 1 of Smash, in Rescue Me, The Good Wife, The Deuce, Impulse, Madam Secretary, and Stranger Things. Moving right on down the line, we've got Peter Jacobson, who is playing defense attorney Randolph J. Dworkin. This motherfucker was Bart fucking Ganzel in the 3-parter that we covered back in Munch My Benson episodes 31 through 33. We talked about him a ton back then, especially in the guest stars portion in episode 31. You probably know him as Dr. Taub from House, which ended 2 days before his Bart Ganzel guest run started. He was also in The Americans, The Colony, and Ray Donovan.
He goes really big in this one.
He does. I have some things to say about that later. So then we've got Vincent Curatola, who is playing Judge Albertuccio. This is one of his 6 SVUs as this judge. He was in one other SVU. He, as Adam would want me to say, played Johnny Sack in The Sopranos.
Yes, he's Johnny Sacks. Thank you.
He also was in the Exiled Law & Order movie. He was in Patriots Day, Killing Them Softly, 2 episodes of the original series and 1 episode of Criminal Intent. Moving down the line, we've got Deshaun White, who's playing Keisha Johnson, one of the victims. She was Chocolate in 3 episodes of The Deuce. She had a small part in Motherless Brooklyn. She also was a recurring character in a BET web series, Makeup and Breakup. She showed up in an episode of Jessica Jones also. Then we've got Sydney Winters playing Miss Smiley. She's born in New York, raised in Miami. She is Chinese, Jamaican, Cuban American. She is a singer and an actress. She wrote and performed a one-woman play about Lena Horne. She's recorded with Snoop, Big Daddy Kane, and Grandmaster Flash, in addition to recording her own stuff. On Broadway, she's been in The Lion King as Nala. She was in Hamilton, Pippin, and Jesus Christ Superstar. My last guest star that I've got is Andrew Campfer.
Oh, good. Yeah, my last 2.
Good. Then we don't need to talk about any others.
Yeah.
He's playing Frank Wyatt. He was uncredited as Golf Caddy in a season 6 episode of The Sopranos. He was also in 3 episodes of the Christopher Maloney star vehicle, Happy.
Most of my notes are actually about this guy because I found his character fascinating, but we'll get there as we move through through the show.
So I think first off, we sort of need to unpack Michael Chernuchin.
Yeah, man. Woo. How did the show survive his stewardship?
I fucking have no idea. So Michael Chernuchin, this is the first episode of season 19, and he takes over as the showrunner of SVU season 19 and carries it on through season 20 before turning the keys back over to Warren Light. His second TV writing job was for Law & Order, the original series. He joined the writing staff toward the end of its first season. He worked his way up from staff writer to story editor to executive story editor to co-producer to producer to supervising producer to executive producer over the course of 6 seasons at Law & Order. He left after season 6, writing or co-writing 37 episodes along the way. On his last Law & Order season, he also co-wrote the Homicide Law & Order crossover event from that season. For the next 6 years, he bounced around from new show to new show, landing at Bull, Feds, and 24, among others. He landed back at the original series in season 13, and while there, helped old pal Rene Balser develop Law & Order Criminal Intent. After season 14, he left the production staff of the original series, but occasionally popped in to write an episode. He ended up over at Criminal Intent in season 8, where he eventually took over as co-showrunner. He also wrote 3 episodes of Law & Order UK. He eventually joined Chicago Justice, where he was the showrunner for its 1 season. He took over as SVU showrunner in the next year, season 19 for SVU. This is his first episode. He ran the show for 2 seasons.
Yeah. Whew.
Let's just dive in, because I've got a lot to say about this fucking episode.
Okay, so for one thing, Cuba doesn't look anything like a soundstage, right?
Wow, that Havana set, lighting, and VFX package? It seems insane to me that they didn't green screen the blue sky backdrop and use video instead of a matte painting or screen print. Like, I know it's not on screen for that long, but there's no motion to add verisimilitude at all.
No, it's so jarring.
It's so clearly fake Like there are palm trees in the background, and you're telling me that there's no fucking wind that would move a frond? What the fuck? So obviously the Havana set is fucking terrible.
It's terrible.
I think it's also weird that we're spending the cold open cutting back and forth between the setup for the A and B plots for the episode.
Every season 19 episode we've seen has done this, right?
Yeah, but just wait. Okay, so the A plot is happening before the B plot setup could be.
Yeah.
Like, Finn's bit would have to have taken at least 14 hours. Like, I figured this out.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah, they're not happening at the same time.
Between the kidnapping on the street, clearing the return with local authorities, which we know took 4 hours.
Yeah, leaving him in a hot car.
And then going to the airport, which presumably would eat up another 2 hours for international travel, a 5.5 hour flight to New York, going through customs for an international flight with this fucking guy you've kidnapped, basically. Getting to Manhattan SVU from whichever airport you fly into generously, that's 14 hours. I did the math, and that's being like as quick as possible. It's probably more like 24.
But the problem you have with this is that there's no universe in which whatever Finn did there, he cannot bring that guy back through customs in the United States in handcuffs.
Correct.
Without raising a whole shitload of eyebrows.
Yeah.
Oh.
From Cuba. Like, travel to and from Cuba, was still legal then, and I guess it's limited, but
I don't remember the exact, because it's changed multiple times.
In 2019, Trump made it so you can only fly to and from Havana.
Yeah, but when it was ramping up access to Cuba, you had to, go through basically a tour group package. Yeah. This is how it was for a while.
But this is 2017. This is well into the period of time in which Obama was allowing travel to Cuba.
I mean, okay, it's one thing driving to New Hampshire to hold somebody extrajudicially and violate their civil rights. It's a whole nother thing to fly to Cuba to do that. And it's a whole nother thing for Finn to get the local authorities to agree to help him. None of this makes sense.
Okay, so SVU doesn't really fuck around with time.
Like, time doesn't exist in SVU?
No, SVU is told very linearly.
Yes, you're right.
And for this, they're fucking doing a cut back and forth between two different things that, if you're doing that, you're telling everybody that that's happening at the same time.
That these are happening at the same time.
It's not hard to just have Finn do that thing and then cut to live on the street with Noah and then cut to live in the police department and then Finn walks in with a perp. This is a decision that happened in the edit, or at the very least, whatever fucking editor was working on the show should have been like, do you know this show?
Yeah, this is not how this show works.
So right off the bat, we've got a terrible set. And cutting back and forth between two things that do not work because they're not happening at the same time. And by cutting back and forth between them, you're implying that they are happening at the same time when they absolutely could not be.
It's also not having the effect of raising the tension on either one of those two storylines. Neither one of them has any tension at all. I mean, I have to tell you that I thought that Noah was about to get Micho blacked really hard by that taxi cab. And I was excited about it, but it didn't happen.
So that cab is supposed to be driving like a bat out of hell in the parking lane.
Swerves into the parking lane when he sees the little kid walk out.
It's in the parking lane the entire time until it swerves back into a lane of traffic. This doesn't make any fucking sense. God damn it. Okay, so Liv's walking into the station and gets the phone call asking about the bruise. This is literally less than an hour from when Noah had a near-death experience. How in the fuck does she not remember this?
She seems kind of out of it, honestly.
This is so dumb. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to say this is so dumb during this fucking episode, but it feels like it's going to be a lot.
She almost watched her kid, who, she has an inferiority complex about because it's not really her kid.
Yeah.
And she had this heart-to-heart with him where he said he'd rather have Lucy be his mommy. That's the sort of thing that just stabs straight into Liv's heart. And then she almost watched him die, and she forgot about it immediately afterwards. Immediately.
She's wearing the same outfit. She's absolutely, I checked. I went back and checked. This is not like it jumped a day. She's wearing the same fucking outfit that she was wearing when she was not paying attention to Noah, who decided he was just going to fucking cross the street because there was a walk signal.
Now, what I liked about her interview with the school nurse, right?
No, that was his teacher. The nurse alerted them, yeah.
Oh, it was the teacher, Miss Smiley.
Yeah.
The interview with Miss Smiley, I liked it because Miss Smiley was essentially assuming guilt and making Liv kind of argue for innocence.
Okay, that's the only good thing about that scene, because that scene's terrible.
No, of course, yeah. No, that goes without saying. But what I like it is because Liv is being put in the part of every single criminal that gets hauled into interrogation in the show and in real life.
So Finn walks in and says, guess what I caught? A couple of snapper, a sailfish, and a fat-ass flounder.
Yeah.
I have to say that this is the most fucked up thing I've seen Finn do.
Okay, so I have a problem with that, right? Because you would not be catching those 3 fish on the same fishing trip. So flounder you catch in bays. Flounder you catch right off the dock. That's where you catch a flounder. Red snapper you catch in about 100 feet of water. So, you have to go out.
He went to Havana to fish and probably fish from multiple places.
Well, it's possible. But still, you got to get out to about 100 feet of water. You need to have a boat to do that. But it's like an 8-hour trip maybe to get to go snapper fishing.
Well, the flounder, though, is the perp. That's the joke.
Yeah, I know. Sailfish, however, you got to go way the fuck offshore.
Yeah.
You're going like 150 miles offshore to catch sailfish.
Right.
Not a big deal.
But you're probably not going to Cuba to do that.
Typically, you probably have a guide service out of Florida or something like that.
But whatever. Obviously, it's all bullshit.
It doesn't matter. Did you like his outfit? His linen shirt look and the hat thing?
It's fine. Carisi finds it morally reprehensible that an American would give a nickel to the Castros.
Why is Carisi the one? It would make sense if Barba had that feeling, right? Because Barba's a Cuban American, and Cuban Americans, assassinated a U.S. president because he wasn't hard enough on the Fidel Castro.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? When they have Byron in interrogation.
God, man, this fucking guy. As we say many times again, nothing makes sense.
Almost every note is nothing makes sense. Nothing about this character makes sense. I have 6 pages of Benson says, I should wipe that smug right off of your face. That is not a saying. That is not how that is said.
Smirk, smug look.
Smug look, yes, or smirk. Either one would work. The way this is written does not. It's almost like no one proofread this script, because that's clearly just a, fuck, I forgot to write look. Whatever, fix it.
Right after that, he says, that goopy stuff pouring out your heart.
What the fuck? What's that supposed to mean? And he's not wrong, probably, about the sanctimony coupled with the Vicks falling off the radar. Mm-hmm. But this blow up and retort doesn't track at all.
No.
I guess it's just establishing that he sort of has a smooth talking charm to him. But he's using that as a counterbalance to rapes that he's not actually denying having committed here, which doesn't serve any purpose.
And another thing is, right, he's kind of written as a serial killer, right?
Kind of
manipulative. He's a Ted Bundy. I always get Ted and Al confused, but a Ted Bundy kind of character, right?
Al Bundy's very different.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware. But the thing with Ted Bundy, right? Ted Bundy was a smooth talker. He didn't have a problem convincing women to have sex with him. This guy didn't seem to have a problem convincing Rollins to have sex with him.
Ted Bundy, you're giving more credit than is due. I mean, he was...
Okay, he convinced women to want to marry him in court, right?
Well, his whole thing was he was basically preying on women being sympathetic people with the caste bullshit. So, he's not he's not successfully getting people to sleep with him and then killing him. He's murdering these women after taking advantage of their kindness.
I'm not trying to say that Ted Bundy's a good guy, but what I'm saying is that his motivation for being a rapist is weird.
There's never any fucking motivation at all. It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make any sense. It's not like he's got this inner rage or anything. He just exists and he's breaking into these women's homes and doing this horrible shit.
No, he's not breaking into their homes. He's picking them up at the farmer's market.
Oh, that's right. She got a tomato and
a fucking watermelon and 2 fucking...
Yeah, arugula.
Okay, I'm sure you didn't notice this because, you were not watching this a second time. The only time I picked this up was the second time. But the framing of the tight shot with Benson and Byron Marks is really weird. I had it paused while I was taking a note, and when she's asking him to save them all time and just confess, it looks like she couldn't possibly actually be looking him in the eyes.
There's a lot of that in this period, because I remember this kind of filmmaking with the Baby Boy Doe saga with Sheila. Yeah. that we watched where I don't know what's going on with just how they have Benson, like her marks just don't make any sense, or the camera work or something.
In this one, they're really close to each other, and she almost looks to be looking down on him. Mm-hmm. It's slightly over his shoulder, and it's possible the camera is cocked at like 105-degree angle, so like cockeyed off to the left instead of at 90. It is handheld, obviously, because so much of the show is. But, like, that angle on a handheld, just who would ask the cameraman to do that?
Season 19.
If it isn't at that angle, she's right on top of him, standing on a half apple to get to that angle because Will Chase is 6 foot.
Yeah.
And then she's like, really, she would be looking off of his left shoulder. What's that?
He wasn't sitting down in this
scene?
No.
He's standing up. He gets up to give his fucking dumb whatever. Oh, God damn it.
This is what makes life worth living. The verbal give and take, the push and pull, the heave and ho keeps a man on his toes.
Well, had you stuck around for another 24 hours, you'd know that your DNA matches all 3 victims.
I've always had a good sense of timing.
I should wipe that smug right off your face. You shattered the lives of 3 innocent human beings.
And I suppose your sanctimonious crap fills their days with sunshine and light. Now let me guess. You sent them cards on Christmas for 2 years, 3, tops. But then you got a little busy. Who doesn't? So you said to yourself, you know what? I'll make sure I hit their birthdays this year. They'll appreciate that more. But this and that came up, a PBA conference here, a co-op meeting there. And these 3 devastated human beings disappeared from your thoughts like a puff of smoke in a windstorm. What the hell? The sun will come up tomorrow and you'll have another victim or 2 to empty that goopy stuff you're pouring out of your heart.
You done?
So Barba rightfully questions how Finn actually got Byron Marks.
No, yeah, Barba's reasonably professional in this episode, as per usual. Finn should be in jail for doing this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's...
My next note is I hate these cases where they're dealing with a perp that confounded them for years and multiple characters were scarred by the case, but we never fucking saw it.
Yeah.
What is the point if you can't reference a case from an episode that is said to have occurred shortly after Rollins joined the unit? Then don't write this fucking kind of episode.
Seriously, if you're bringing back a perp from like a previous Rollins-sode, do it. That's great.
Yeah. Add some fucking continuation of stories.
Otherwise, make a new case.
Yeah.
Why can't it be a new case?
She says he still ranks on my top 10 despicable list, which also sounds super fucking awkward. But like, if this is the case, wouldn't it have been better to show why rather than have characters talk about how terrible he was?
It's true. Now, I mean, so Carisi doesn't do that much in this episode, but the other SVUs, each one of them in their own ways, really kind of a race to the bottom with which one is the worst. I think Rollins might be the worst of the whole bunch.
I think so too. Yeah, and we'll get to why in a second, or in a few minutes, hopefully. They're interviewing the victims. I don't think either of those matter to talk about.
Well, but Rollins is essentially not at all persuasive in trying to get them to testify.
No, but I mean, I think she's gotten to the point, because this is season 19, so she's been on since season 13. It would make sense that she'd sort of know the drill and could read the victims to know that like 6 years later, they're probably not going to want to fucking deal with it.
I guess.
They finally get to Carla Wyatt and her husband Frank.
Okay, without the evidence, they've got no case. I am the case.
Not anymore, you're not.
Excuse me, sir, but this is not your decision.
She's my wife. That makes it my decision. Like, I'm gonna let her embarrass us in front of Mikey and Joe and the guys?
I want him in prison.
And I don't want you humiliated.
Get Mikey and Joe and the guys.
Like, why bring Mikey and Joe and the guys into it? Nobody knows who Mikey or Joe or the guys are.
I mean, you could think of like, I don't know, your parents, the church, you know, your job, things like that. Important things, not Mikey, Joe, and the guys.
This guy sucks balls.
Do respect a guy who's laying on the couch drinking a beer in the middle of the afternoon, watching bowling on TV. That's what he was watching. I think
he's wearing Crocs.
Yeah, I think he might have been wearing Crocs.
I don't think he's actually watching bowling. I think he's watching videos of pin setting only.
It's possible. So this is basically the only scene I watched twice. When they roll up to their house, to the Wyatt's house, this house is fucking huge. Like, it is this is New York, it's Queens, but still, this house is easily 2,500 square feet. big ass house.
Yeah.
And then they go inside and it's like a small 1 to 2 bedroom apartment.
Right.
Really not continuation there. Like they didn't walk.
Well, could this be like because it has the address is written weird, and maybe this is just a product of being in Richmond Hill, but it's 85-29 12th Street.
That's how they do Queens. That's how they do like weird Queens addresses. I don't know what it means, but yeah, I can tell. I see that all the time because when I get places, sometimes I get Astoria apartments that I'm looking at, and they have that too, which is annoying.
Then Carla jumps in and says, Frank knows what's right. And it's like, what this guy fucking knows couldn't fill a notebook.
Yeah, Frank's a fucking dunce. He could afford a huge house, so he's doing something right, but he's a fucking dunce, man.
If you look inside, it doesn't look like he can afford to do anything right.
I mean, maybe it's a duplex. It was hard to tell, but it just had one front door.
It could be an upstairs, downstairs duplex.
Maybe.
Oh, you had more notes about him, though.
No, that was about all my notes about him. Okay. I did not take very many notes, Josh.
No, that's fine. You don't have to. Trust me, I took more than enough. Carisi doesn't understand why all the Vics don't want to see their rapist hang after all these years because, quote, I'm Italian. Revenge is one of our 3 major food groups. That's kind of the only good line of the episode.
The only fun part of the whole episode was that.
The only intentionally fun part of the episode.
So Carisi has been on the unit. He joined in 15, I believe.
Season 17.
17. Okay, so he's been on for 2 years. Still, he has to have known at this point.
Or maybe it was season 16.
He was still on a season with Amaro.
Yeah, I just can't remember if Amaro left in 16 or 17.
Yeah, I don't remember either. It is definitely a thing that some rape victims don't want to testify, understandably.
Yeah.
You'd think he'd know that by now. Also, at the same time, it's not to say that they should force them to testify, but they didn't make a very strong pitch for why testifying is a good thing.
Right. So, back at the house, and Finn says it's better that Benson doesn't ask about who might have helped him kidnap Marks. Then what's-her-fuck rolls in and says she's gonna testify. Anyway, jumping ahead, because right after that, it's commercial break, and then goddamn Randy Dworkin. I honestly do not get what the fuck Randolph Dworkin is supposed to be here. Lawyering like that would seem to be anathema to engendering favor with a judge.
Is that what Antonin Scalia taught his clerks to do?
Clearly. Like, if he's such a hot shit lawyer, why would he be playing his cards like this?
Yeah, I mean, generally speaking, you want to make it easy on the judge. Of my understanding, I'm not a lawyer, obviously.
You want to curry favor.
Yeah, you want to make it seem like the judge is doing the simple thing, taking up less time, not being a pain in the ass. And this guy's whole thing is, I'm a huge pain in the ass. Look at me. I'm a piece of shit.
And the weird thing is, like, Jacobson's actually doing really well with what's written, but we come back to the writing, and what in the fuck was written here? I mean, god damn it. Okay, then right after this, we cut to the scene with a teacher, and this is like the apex of tedium, at least in the non-Brooke Shields division.
You have to add that Jacobson bit, though, because it's just so extreme.
I'm going to start with it.
The people. The people are like, how many people? Which people?
You should get better material or whatever the fuck Barbara says. We're maybe halfway through the episode, and at this point, I feel like I'm watching an episode of SVU written by an alien trying to approximate what SVU is with no understanding of human behavior.
Yeah, when the teacher showed up, I was like, thank God I'm doing the dishes right now.
God damn it. The always entertaining Randy Dworkin line from Barba had me scratching my head, so I looked into it more. Fucking Dworkin popped up in the original series back in Chernuchin's second run there in an episode he wrote. This means that fucking Dworkin predated Jacobson's turn as Bart Ganzel. So he's Dworkin, Ganzel, Dworkin.
Is he ever Ganzel and Dworkin at the same time? Or is it like a...
Is he trying himself in court? Is this like the Paul Rudd show where he's his own twin?
No, it's the Jacobson uncertainty principle. So he's either...
Not to be confused with the Peter principle.
Yeah. He's either Dworkin or Ganzel, but never both at the same time. And by looking at him and figuring out which one he is, you actually affect the result.
Yeah. This is really weird because I think it's the only time I have registered where a defense attorney from the original series shows up as the same attorney in SVU.
I mean, I haven't looked into it that much. And
well, I mean, when I check the guests, I check to see if they've been in SVU before, and I check to see if they've been in the original series. And I feel like I would have registered that they'd played the same lawyer in multiple series as defense attorneys. In court, Barba invokes the Kerr Frisbee line of cases. and is then challenged with a U.S. v. Toscanino.
Yeah, you looked those up?
I fucking did. So this is all from Wikipedia. I did not do much work on this. This is just from, I'll link it in the fucking thing, but it is just from Wikipedia. And sometimes I'm going to be speaking directly from the entry because fuck this episode. Kerr, Illinois was in 1886. An American, Frederick Kerr, fled to Peru to escape larceny and embezzlement charges. President Arthur sent an agent to work out extradition with Peruvian authorities, but the agent had a better idea. Why not just kidnap him? When his defense attorney argued that the U.S. committed extraterritorial abduction, the court ruled such forcible abduction is no sufficient reason why the parties should not answer when brought within the jurisdiction of the court, which has the right to try him for such an offense, and presents no valid objection to his trial in such court. Then, in 1952, Frisbee v. Collins was heard. Shirley Collins was a murder suspect in Michigan. Michigan authorities abducted him from a Chicago bus station. Collins claimed he was seized, handcuffed, and hit by a short leather club. They brought Collins into Chicago authorities, but Collins refused to go back to Michigan, and Chicago and Michigan authorities then denied him counsel and hit him with a blackjack again. He argued that his arrest was in violation of the Federal Kidnapping Act, which had been enacted after the Lindbergh baby was kidnapped, and that he was denied due process as guaranteed in the 14th Amendment. The court ruled that since he was the suspect in a crime, that his life, liberty, or property had not been taken. The thrust of the Kerr-Frisbee doctrine is essentially criminal defendants that are being tried have to be in court, and it does not matter how the authorities get them there. This has been and is used in both domestic and international cases to defend the abduction and extradition by authorities. Now, in U.S. v. Toscanino, that was tried by the Second Circuit in 1974. Toscanino was accused of attempting to smuggle narcotics into the U.S. Uruguayan authorities drugged him and abducted him in Italy and turned him over to U.S. authorities who tortured him through electrocution, starvation, and flushing his eyes and nose with alcohol.
Nice.
Toscanino was convicted in American court, but the Second Circuit ruled that there was a limitation to the Kerr-Frisbee doctrine, wherein if the abduction is accompanied by some sort of aggressive and torturous action, like for Toscanino, then it does in fact go against due process of law. So that's the fucking riveting legal conundrum afoot in this fucking episode of SVU.
I mean, I could see it potentially being interesting, but
it
not
doesn't
here.
end up being interesting.
No. We also don't have a lawyer on the pod, so or one that would sort of specialize in extradition cases, because I really feel like they didn't do their research here.
No,
you know?
I think they actually did, and I was assuming that they had not. And then when I looked into the case, the thrust of what's being argued is very much what has happened, and they're basically having to parse whether or not being locked in the van constituted torture.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way that you're getting out of this not actually being legal.
Yeah, I guess so.
Liv telling Finn that he has to do things legally while she's running the unit makes no sense. Finn is not the one who's stretching the bounds of what can be done legally in virtually every other fucking episode. Once again, this whole episode makes no sense.
Uh-huh. I mean, in 4 episodes or something, we see her sending the entire squad to New Hampshire to take people captive without reading them their rights.
Yep. I kind of like that Finn found Byron because of a Walter Smith message board.
Yeah.
I looked him up on fucking Wikipedia. Walter Smith is a 40-year-old tenor saxophonist, originally hailing from Houston. He's the chair of the woodwind department at the Berklee College of Music. He's also got his own group and has played with the Ambrose Akinmusiri, I'm hoping I'm getting that last name correct, Quintet, Eric Harlan's Voyager, and Terrence Blanchard, amongst others.
So they know their nouveau jazz, I guess.
Telling the judge he's not competent to hear the case after the Cuban official demands Marks be released into his custody and returned to Cuba is a really ballsy move for Dworkin.
Mm-hmm.
Really? If it comes down to a judgment call for the judge, you have completely fucked over your case.
Yeah.
Over and over and over. That's his MO. That seems
his legal strategy is to be like, I'm smarter and better than you.
Yeah. I really fucking hate when Rollins tells Carisi to just be a cop. I don't care that you went to law school. Just be a fucking cop or whatever the fuck she says.
Yeah.
I honestly feel like I don't know what show I'm watching, and it sure feels like this is because it's being written by someone who doesn't know what show he's writing.
That's what they were telling to Frank Serpico when he wasn't taking the money from the gambling guys, you know?
Yeah, and this is not Serpico.
Serpico actually knew what it was talking about, though.
Yeah.
So it had a lot more going for it.
Oh, God damn it. If Rollins is so concerned with Carisi being a quote-unquote cop, maybe she should have told him to cover the other exit when their charge slipped their tail. Because they both charge in the same way.
They sure do.
Bad police work.
Really bad police work. Also, the whole, like, she almost got her pants charmed off of her by the fucking perp. Pretty gross and weird. She should have been more of a cop back then.
Oh, for sure. So we smash cut to Benson at the unit. She thinks Carla's in danger. If she thinks Carla's in danger, why wouldn't she send a fucking patrol car by?
There's 35,000 cops in New York City. Yeah, just call them.
Instead, she drives all the way from Midtown to Richmond Hill.
Yeah, it's a 45-minute drive.
Which is way the fuck out in Queens, almost all the way to JFK.
Yeah.
I checked at 8 p.m. tonight on a Saturday night. Now, this is 8 p.m. on a Saturday night during the pandemic. And it estimated that driving from the Midtown South precinct on 35th to the address in Richmond Hill would take 38 minutes.
Yeah, that's with zero traffic. And
there's obviously some traffic, but 38 minutes. And the kicker is she didn't answer, so Byron had to have already been there. So the best case scenario, Liv is there in 30 minutes with a cherry spinning. It was not spinning when she pulled up. And in the 40-ish minutes that Carla had Byron at gunpoint before Liv arrived, he didn't have a chance to fucking tell her that he's changed and he wanted to apologize. Like, what the fuck happened over 45 minutes?
They were just chit-chatting, man. They were talking about the...
She had him at gunpoint. Absolutely nothing in this fucking episode makes sense.
Where was Frank? That's what I wanted to know.
He's out with Mikey, Joe, and the boys. The guys. Sorry. Okay, so Barbara joking that she should have just let Carla shoot him was kind of funny, though just as problematic in a bad way as every other fucking thing in this episode.
There's one problematic that is slightly fun.
Yeah.
I guess we're not quite there yet,
No.
but...
We then get subjected to Carla having to recount the attack to Byron's wife. Like, how the fuck did they even get her there? Logic has been jettisoned into outer space in this episode.
Well, she was there testifying on behalf of Byron as a character witness.
At the 16th precinct?
No, well, they got her to New York to testify.
No, what's she doing at the police station?
Well, because they called her in for this meeting.
Why?
To get her on Carla's side.
Why would Dworkin agree to this?
But he wouldn't. It doesn't.
He was in the room. He did.
I know. It wouldn't make any sense at all.
We then find out that he pissed on her after he raped her.
The way that she says it is the thing that's fun.
They even said pissed on network TV here.
And Liv goes, she says something like, what else did he do? What else did he do? Kind of egging her on. And she says, and then he just whipped it out and pissed all over me. Oh, only time I laughed.
God damn it.
Because she didn't say it like he humiliated me, he urinated all over me, and it was like the lowest I've ever felt. He said he just kind of whipped out his thing and, pissed on me as if I were a campfire.
Right. So then Byron's not even there to see his wife torch him on the stand or to see the tide turn against him. That happens.
Where is he? Yeah.
It's like motivation or meaning or weight for any fucking actions have all just been completely ignored in this episode.
Yeah, absolutely. At this point, I'm definitely missing, like, what's going on with Noah right now? I was getting a little worried about his...
I promise you're not missing anything.
I thought CPS was going to get called.
Really, I think aside from how wildly inappropriate the whole pissing on her thing was.
Oh, yeah.
Aside from that, the only good thing in this scene is at least we get Barba speaking Spanish.
Yeah. Yeah, when he speaks Spanish, Barba's always great.
Give me more of that.
Barba in general is great. I like Barba a lot.
Barba's the best. Then... of course, we cut to Noah asking for fucking strawberry ice cream, and Olivia's like, nah, bitch, you ate that shit. You're gonna have to settle for vanilla, shitbird. Then goddamn Cassidy shows up. And he was supposed to have retired to Florida. I missed that, I guess.
Yeah.
Now, he says he hit a dozen balls into the lake on the 16th in Forest Park. There is no Forest Park or golf course called Forest Park in Florida. The only match I can find is to Forest Park disc golf in Port St. Joe, Florida.
So you think he's frolfing?
No. While it would be weird for there to be a lake on a hole at a disc golf course, I think we can assume that Cassidy is so dumb that he tries to golf at a disc golf course.
That is in character.
Yeah. Then he tells her that the DA's office is investigating her now. All I can say is that I'm hoping that's not the next episode the randomizer gives us.
God, it surely will be, though. God damn.
That's all I have. Let's rate this piece of shit.
Yeah, please. So obviously we rate these episodes. We do it on a 10-point scale. We have 4 criteria which you judge on and which gives us a composite score. We rate on the quality, we rate on the guests, we rate on how problematic it was, and the depth and breadth of lives ruined. It's going to be hard to budge me off of 1 for most of these categories, Josh.
Oh, yeah. No, quality 1.
Quality, easy 1.
No question. This is the worst written, least sensible. Like, it's not tethered to any reality of what this show is or has been at any point. This is a 1 quality-wise.
It's psychedelically bad. Like, Asunder, at least, I understood what was going on.
Yeah.
At many points in this one, no fucking clue what's happening.
No, and none of the characters are doing anything that makes sense. It's fucking 18 years of SVU, and they have no one doing anything that makes sense. Are you telling me Chernuchin has no idea who these fucking characters are while he's been working in the Law & Order universe since 1991?
Yeah.
What the fuck?
It's insane. It's insane. I think it's an easy 1.
No question.
Guess? I mean...
This is the one where I don't think the guests are the problem at all.
You don't? I thought Amy Smart was dog shit. I thought she was awful.
I don't think she's that bad. I think Will Chase was fine.
I guess.
We have to consider the material they're fucking working with.
I know. It's terrible.
This is the worst written episode of SVU that I've ever seen. There are straight up typos. They have to be typos. Straight up typos are making it through and getting filmed, and there's no quality control to check this. I mean, they are delivering lines that do not make sense, like that fucking smug line.
I know. It's true.
What the fuck? I would guess that maybe the script was missing every other word, and that they were having to piece together what they thought maybe the line was supposed to be.
I kind of wonder if, like, that Carisi line about Cuba was supposed to be Barba, but they were like, wait, it doesn't make any sense for Barba to be here at this point.
No, not even that. I'm guessing that they just forgot Barba wasn't on the fucking call sheet that day, and they were shooting the scene.
That's a good point. Or they forgot that Barba is actually Cuban, you know?
Oh, they surely don't know that Barba's Cuban. Okay, so the guest stars, I think Chase is decent. I think Jacobson's actually good. It's just everything that his character is doing doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
I think he's doing maybe a better job of chewing on scenery than he was as Bart Ganzel.
I guess he's more believable as a lawyer than as a, crime lord. That's for sure. But still.
Than as a 5'3" crime lord?
Still.
Yeah. And I think the judge is fine.
Yeah, I mean, the judge is whatever. The judge is the judge.
Like, I think this is the one area where it's like, okay, this is the only thing that gets it. Like, I would say it's probably a 3.
Okay, I was going to say you better not go above a 3 because I don't think I can budge above a 3. I mean, you're right. Jacobson alone is fun enough that I think
Jacobson is fun to watch. It's just nothing he does makes sense, but it's still at least fun. You can't blame him for there being no motivation for his character that makes sense at all.
Yeah, like Cassidy shows up at the end. Cassidy's not what's wrong with this episode.
No. When Cassidy's not what's wrong with an episode, you're
when
fucked.
Noah's not what's wrong with the episode, that's a problem.
Yeah.
So problematic. So really, besides the pissing line, I can't think of anything else that was like fun problematic in any way. Like that did make me giggle a little bit.
I can tell you there are a whole bunch of things that are not fun problematic.
Most of them being just, continuity issues.
No. I mean, this is the worst thing that Finn's done as a cop.
Easily. We're all 3 of our main SVUs really are doing pretty fucking bad work. Benson, Rollins, and Finn. I guess Carisi's the junior cop at this point.
I don't know how much bad police work Liv is doing. Like, not having a fucking patrol car go to Carlos, that's really bad police work. That's
pretty bad.
But that's just because I think Chernuchin knows, oh, yeah, let's get Liv in a fucking room with a fucking gun pointed at someone's head. That's what makes SVU work.
Not having a handle on her sergeant's off the books fucking CIA. What do they call that shit? Why am I blanking on it? Because it's 11 o'clock at night and I'm used to going to bed by now.
Exfiltration?
No, it's not exfiltration, but it's like that. You know, when the rendition.
Yeah,
his off-the-books rendition program. It's a little fucked up, but you're right. It's Finn. It's Finn,
but Rollins too. Like, fucking
Rollins is bad.
Are you fucking kidding me? Be a cop. Don't fucking complain about Finn going off and committing what really should be like a fucking felony.
A federal offense, probably. It's probably a federal offense to do that. I understand the point why the trial against whatever is Will Chase would still go ahead.
Yeah, but why Finn's not being brought up on charges is beyond me.
Yeah, exactly. Why Finn was allowed to leave Cuba with a prisoner does not make much sense.
But for problematic, it's a 1. Fuck it.
Yeah, it's a 1. Depth and breadth of lives ruined. The problem with this is that the crime happened 6 years in the past.
Yeah.
And while their lives...
I mean, we've seen two lives ruined. Like, clearly, the 3 victims, all their lives are ruined. Like, all their lives are in shambles. What's-her-fuck's married to this Frank dipshit, and the other 2 feel like they're unlovable.
Okay, I'm sorry, but Vic number 2, I forget her name, but mom of Khalil.
Keisha Johnson.
The husband left her.
Yeah.
She had a nice kid. The kid was like playing basketball. He was doing great. I'm just saying that her life looked pretty put together, all things being considered. Number 1, sure, her life was in the toilet. Absolutely. Amy Smart. Frank is not exactly the catch that she probably dreamed of when she was young. But I don't know. This is probably the most problematic part of the episode is my commentary right here. I don't know, man. I just can't go very high on this one either. No bodies drop. And all of these Vics, it happened far in the past. You know what I mean?
I think we have to punish the show for how bad it was.
Cuban wife and Cuban daughter.
But are they really that bad off? This guy isn't in their lives anymore. Who cares? This guy's a monster.
Her tia has a knitting shop down by the seaside, which somehow has attractive looking gringo rapists coming through it all the time.
So what, like a 2?
It's like a 2. And again, I don't like thinking too much about the final score, but of course I wanted to give this a bad final score. And our composite for it is a 1.75, which I think is thoroughly justified.
Yeah, and that puts it in bottom 3, I think.
It puts it really bad. So the Kylie Bunbury episode, which was Chasing Demons, which was a really bad one.
And Dean Winters was in it too.
That was the Dean Winters, so that was a 2. And this slots in below that one.
I can't believe I'm saying that I think an episode is worse than that episode, but I really do think this one is.
Yeah, I mean, Asunder, we gave a 1.5, justifiably, because there was nothing going on in Asunder.
Well, there's no fallout at all. There's no fallout. There's nothing. And the acting was so much worse in that episode. The acting was awful.
For whatever reason, we gave...
Gone Baby Doe Gone's very low also.
Yes, it is. It's a 1.75, and we gave it an exact same score across the board. 1 quality, 3 guests, 1 problematic, 2 depth and breadth. And I think we gave that one a 3 for guests just because Brooke Shields is famous.
No, we hated Brooke Shields in it. That was not why.
I know, but why did we give it a 3 then?
I think it was the 2, like the travel agent and the travel agent, and there was someone else who was good in it. I can't remember who it was. It was not Brooke Shields. Absolutely not Brooke Shields. I promise.
Was it Brooke Shields' gardener? Did we like him, right?
Probably.
Isn't that who
or maybe
they
his
held?
Niece or something.
Yeah, they held them hostage, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, it's right there. It's a season 19 episode that is so bad. It's like the people making this have never watched a film or a television program before. Like, there's no continuity between the things.
Which is insane because this fucking guy worked on the original series when it was still really good.
I mean, who knows? I feel confident in saying that I am glad that this one's over, which means we will never have to watch it again. Unless it comes on USA during a marathon. But at that point, it's our fault for not changing the channel.
No goddamn way I'm going to watch this episode again. I've seen it twice. Well, 3 times technically. I don't remember the first time really.
Because you were probably doing something else.
Oh, surely. So, heading over to episode.lol, brought to you by Flat. So, I am going to to pick a random episode.
Which is a really great tool, by the way, guys, just as an aside. Recommend using it for any of the random shows that you watch. If you don't want to just like watch...
If you want to watch a random Frasier.
If you don't want to watch all of season 6 of Seinfeld at the same time and you don't want to think about what you want to watch, it's a great way to just pick an episode.
Or Rockford or whatever.
Exactly.
Super easy way to just like, you can shut off your brain, not have to think about picking anything. Watch a random episode that maybe you haven't seen. It's cool.
Yeah.
So, picking...
Oh, I hate that part.
Okay, we have Closet, Season 9, Episode 16. After investment banker Jeremy Haynes is found dead, suspicions turn to his boyfriend, Lincoln Haver, a professional football player who could lose everything if the truth of his sexuality became public. When news of Haver's sexual preference comes out, Benson comes under fire for her relationship with a reporter. This episode features... Bill Pullman, Laverne Cox,
all right,
Bailey Chase, and Rick Hoffman, and Richard Lewis.
Weird.
Is that the Richard Lewis? Okay, I hope so.
That Richard Lewis? Is Lewis in it?
Beverly D'Angelo's back, but she's qualified as a recurring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bill Pullman. Interesting.
Yeah, Bill Pullman.
Stars. Somebody named Grim Reaper Q.
Oh, Season 9. You know what that means? Dun, 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 Chester Lake.
Oh, yeah. We get some more Chester Lake.
So that'll be a nice palate cleanser from whatever the fuck we just watched. Okay.
Doesn't look like it's a lake-isode, though, but whatever. Hopefully he'll have a nice bit.
He'll probably have 2 scenes, like always. God damn it. Everybody rate and review the podcast. Follow us on all the socials. Pretty much everywhere. We're Munch My Benson, at Munch My Benson, whatever. We have a subreddit. Post the episodes there, too.
The next one's surely going to be better.
Oh, yeah.
Surely.
Yeah.
So, keep your chins up.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to just hear us just fucking eviscerate an episode, so I guess there's that.
It was so bad. So, anyways, guys, thanks so much for listening. We'll talk to you next week.
Yeah. Sorry for what the randomizer just did to you and making you watch this.
Don't feel like you have to, because you're not missing much.
If you're just listening to this and have not watched the episode, you could probably do yourself a favor and fucking skip it.
Turn on the cold open. I would say do yourself a favor. Watch the scene.
Okay.
Watch the soundstage Havana.
Maybe fast forward to the Jacobson scenes then, where Dworkin just comes out of nowhere and start. But like, I would say that those are probably the only things worth watching in this episode.
Yeah, essentially. Yeah, that's it. Leave the rest where it belongs, in the trash.
You don't want to see Finn do the most... God damn it. It's just so frustrating to see them do Finn dirty like this.
I know,
This
right?
is not who Finn is. Finn's a good cop.
He's a good cop. He's a good cop. Anyways, we'll see you next week, guys. Munch away.
Yeah, munch the fuck out of our Bensons.
Carla, if you can, tell her what he did when he was done with you.
After it was over, he just let me drop to the ground. And before he left, he just pissed on me.